Hello, beautiful people. I am back with another spontaneous live today. And I want to talk about dreams. I want to talk about lucid dreams as I just finished facilitating or teaching a one-on-one 101 class around lucid dreams. So before I get into my topic for this live, and this is going to be a really quick chat, I just want to share an important question that came up in the class, which the question is what not to do in a lucid dream. So is there something that we shouldn't be doing in our lucid dream space, right? That's a really good question. Also, I want to share a lucid dream experience I had this morning, and I really love my inner being, my psyche, my, source of like my subconscious self, unconscious self, whoever she is. I love her because she shows up when I really need her. And it happens a lot through my podcasts and through dream classes. So I tend to have a direct experience that is super, super fresh in reference to what it is I'm going to talk about or teach. And that happened today as I'm teaching about lucid dreams. And so this morning I had a lucid dream, and it's been a few weeks, I would say, or it actually honestly could be a couple months since I've had a full-on lucid dream where I was very aware and making decisions and taking action in the dream as an aware person, right, in the dream or figure in the dream. So I'm going to share a bit about this dream too. What I want to mention also is dreams in astrology. Right now we're still in the full moon phase, although the moon is waning in light. So she is releasing energy, and we will be experiencing the waning gibbous phase, I believe, on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. I dropped the ball this week. I will admit I did not post about the dreams in astrology for this week, but I think it was incredibly clear how dreams would be influenced by the energy of the cosmos, as well as, just what specifically is happening this week that will influence the dream space. And that is essentially the full moon eclipse that we just had, right? And so, yes, dreams in astrology with the full moon phase. This is the most potent time for vivid dreams, for lucid dreams, for prophetic or precognitive dream experiences, and just to really have that active dream space. On the other end of the spectrum, this is a time where you might not experience any of that. You might have a weak dream recall experience this week because we are not essentially things are so busy, there's so much energy that you're just not able to really be present with the dream and what's showing up in that space. And personally, this is what I have experienced this week was basically both of those, right? I was so busy earlier in the week that I didn't have time to hold on to my dreams. I didn't have time to really be intentional with how I went to bed, because it almost felt like I was working up until it was time to put my daughter to sleep. And then when it's time for her to go to bed, which has been happening a lot lately, is that I just crash, right? And so I have not been intentional with my dream space this week. And now that I'm at the end of the week, I have accomplished or did a lot of what was on my to-do list. And so naturally that freed up some space within my consciousness. I felt a bit relaxed, and now I had this lucid dream experience, right? I remembered and had time to, I didn't really have time to record it, but I shared it with a friend. And so now I'm sharing it with you all here. And this is going to be my way of remembering the dream. So with the dreams in astrology, though, again, coming back to the full moon and coming to even eclipses, right? Because this is not this is a unique full moon as it is an eclipse, or it was an eclipse. And now we are in between eclipse season. And so in general, with eclipses, this is a time where we are really guided to not do rituals, or to not just you don't have to do a lot of work during eclipse season, because this is a period where we are in the energy field that is in alignment with destiny, that's in alignment with our fate. And so we just want to be intentional, have our intentions clear, ground ourselves. Especially lately, I've been getting the reminder of breath work, meditation. That's so important right now, and especially because there's so much going on energetically and also just in our environment, right? And so with this particular, like with eclipse season and dreams, the dreams will more than likely be even more vivid and deeply anchored in your personal and spiritual evolution, which dreams are in general. But really pay attention to your dreams right now as they're speaking direct guidance and truth. And it's going to be really clear if you can really also be very clear within your mind and your emotions and just what you have going on through the day. The dreams are going to be incredibly clear and vivid in reference to a very key factor in reference to your evolution right at this time. So basically it's almost, I want to use the word or the phrase quantum leap, right? And so our dream guidance at this time is providing us with the opportunity to quote unquote quantum leap, to make a major shedding and accelerate our transformation and our healing to a very profound degree. And so naturally we don't really want to do too much to get in the way of this. So really pay attention to your dreams at this time. As I mentioned, we are in between eclipses. We're going to be coming up on the waning gibbous phase. In the waning gibbous phase, the way that may influence your dreams essentially is this is the time of integration and also releasing, right? So it could be like releasing, letting go in that integration process. So really, we're going to be reflecting on what has come up during the full moon. So what has come up this week, moving into next week, pay attention to your dreams because this is going to give you more clarity around what was illuminated during the full moon and then what we might need to integrate or let go. All right, so that's where we are with dreams and astrology at this moment and moving into next week. So I want to share the dream that I had this morning because I got a really good question and they're here right now. So thank you so much, Junko, for this question. That is there something we should not be doing in our lucid dream? Again, that's a very good question. And so just to share my dream, because they also gave an example of looking in a mirror. They read, hey, I read that we shouldn't look in a mirror in our dream because we will see something distorted or crazy, or what are we going to see? Like what's going to happen with the mirrors? And that was a really crazy example to provide in the class because literally this morning that was a major part of my dream. And so if you're watching live or you're watching the replay and you have looked in a mirror in your dream, let me know. I'm dying to know like what showed up for you, how that experience was, how did you feel? Because I'll share with you what's happened in this dream. I have had dreams in the past, definitely one I can think of, and maybe another where I have looked in the mirror in a dream, or there was a mirror in the dream, but I didn't, like somehow I wasn't able to look in the mirror. Like I looked at the mirror, but it wasn't showing me anything. It was kind of like I was looking in the mirror and looking at what was it was kind of just like darkness, or like if the room was kind of like lit by a candlelight and it wasn't completely dark, but it was dark, right? So I've never really seen anything in a mirror, but mirrors always have this funny energy around them in dreams. And so in this dream, when I realized that I was lucid, the environment that I was in was essentially a restaurant. And what was happening leading up to my lucid experience or realizing that I was in a dream was that I was, and I have past experience with waiting tables, bartending, being like a barista and all of that. So very familiar with back of the house, movements in the restaurant, and that's what was going on. And so I was in the back of the house, like in the back of in the restaurant, and I was looking to see what my closing side work would be, right? And I was still dreaming at this point. So usually somewhere in a restaurant, as a worker in the back in the kitchen or a break room or wherever, you have your closing side work, and you also have side work that you can do while you're working. And generally, when I was working, I would look to see what I could do now to help me get out faster, right? So running side work and also doing the little things like stocking and whatnot so I could, leave work soon. So I was doing that, and I was looking at the board, and all of a sudden I realized that I'm dreaming. I was like, oh, wait, this is a dream. And I was kind of annoyed because I hate, every so often I have a dream where I'm working in a restaurant again, and it's anxious, it's annoying, it's stressful, I don't want to be there. And so that happened in the dream, and I was like, why am I in this why am I doing this? This sucks. And then I decided to not change the dream, because that is a thing that I'm really being intentional with lucid dreaming, is that I don't want to change the environment. I want to receive what the dream is offering me. So I want to just take action and make decisions and engage with my dream environment and, elements and people and stuff in the dream, but I don't really want to change the dream outside of what is happening. I'll follow the direction of the dream. Shout out to Alexis, my co-host, for our podcast, Journey Through the Innerverse. She is like a master at this and has inspired me to do this. And I kind of have no choice to do, this is what I have to do now in my dreams, because they won't appease me. That's a different conversation. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go along with the dream. And so I'm looking around, and I walk into another room, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I was just expressing this frustration. So I ask the dream, right? Just saying out loud to the dream. I'm like, what's the purpose? Can you show me the purpose of this dream? What do I need to know? And the answer, which sometimes I've had in other experiences, the answer or the response comes outside of the dream. This, and it's a very loud, deep voice. This was different. This one was inside the dream, and it was a very quiet, it was like a quieter voice. And it could have been, it didn't feel like myself, but it could have been an aspect of myself. But nonetheless, the dream told me to listen to the music. And when I heard that, I was like, music. And then I could start to hear music playing. And you know how in restaurants they have, just music playing, whether it's songs or instrumental or whatever. And it was a country song. And I couldn't, I started to listen, and I couldn't make out the words. And then finally I heard, finding my way home. And it kept repeating, finding my way home. And I was like, this is so weird. What is happening? And I was like, that's really interesting, finding my way home. And then my conscious fearful self then stepped forward and was like, wait, no, I don't want to go home. I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. I'm good. And so I just calm myself, because that's a thing you want to do in lucid dreams. You want to not freak out, not have any intense emotions, because your dream can collapse, meaning either you just slip back into a regular dream or you just wake up entirely. So I was like, okay, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick with the dream. I'm not going to change anything. And so then I just start moving along with the dream and start checking out the environment. And at this time, it's I'm in the main part of the restaurant. But then it starts to not necessarily look like a restaurant, and I'm looking in front of me, and there's a pile of things. There's a picture that has I thought it was a tombstone at first, and mind you, this is I don't want to die perspective coming in. So I look closer, but it was it was church bells. And I was like, oh, that's a picture of church bells. And then I looked down, and towards the floor was a mirror. And I was like, oh, let's look in the mirror. What not to do in a lucid dream? Do not look in a mirror. I mean, you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, the answer to the question of what not to do in a lucid dream is like, you can do whatever you want. Like, there's really no limits, because you're not going to die in a dream. You'll just wake up. If you're scared, you're just going to wake up or slip into a regular dream. You can always wake yourself out of it, right? And so it's more so what to do in a lucid dream is a better question, right? Or is something that, has more of expansive answer. But what not to do in a lucid dream in this case, as the participant in the class today mentioned, don't look in a mirror. Like, I'm telling you. I'm going to do a little bit more research on this, and I wish I had Alexis here to share, on her experiences with mirrors and dreams. So I looked in the mirror, and what I saw was so scary, so creepy. It was essentially like, I don't even know if it was me. I'm not claiming it. It was not me. But it was like a figure with dark eyes, like just dark, like black eyes, no eyes there, right? Like what you would see in a horror movie, a really pale white face, like a very scary figure. And so I just I backed up, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to look at that. And so I came out of it, or not came out of it, but I just got up and was like, I'm not looking at the mirrors. And so I turned and I look at there was a doorway, kind of like an opening, and then you could tell there was a hallway. And I remembered in the dream, I recall that today is the 21st anniversary of my grandmother's passing. And so I was expecting to see her walk through. I'm like, oh, I knew someone was coming into the room, and I'm like, who's coming in? And it wasn't her. It was someone I didn't know. And I was like, okay, well, another layer of disappointment. This dream was so it was anxious and it was disappointing, but I was like, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with the dream. And so then I didn't stick with it. I was just like, you know what? Can we change the scene? Can we do something else? I'm not connecting with this. And yeah, I just want to change the dream. Can you show me something different? Show me something else. And it took a second for the dream to change, which I was getting kind of impatient with. And then it finally changed, and the scene changed to basically I was in, I guess you could say a portal, but it was darkness. And basically I was kind of if you think of someone falling into a portal, or a wormhole, I was falling in, and then I saw a Cheshire cat smile, but it was the Cheshire cat it was just a blue mouth. There was no teeth, but it was a blue smile. And I feel I could hear Sinister laughing, and I just freaked out and woke up, right? And I woke myself up. I'm like, I'm done. I'm over this lucid dream experience. And upon waking, and this is why I tell people to really pay attention to your emotions in the dream, and then your emotions when you wake up. So when I woke up from the dream, in the dream, my emotion was anxiety, fear, disappointment, impatience, all the kind of negative, emotions I would say. And usually when I'm lucid in a dream, I'm just oh my gosh, this is about to be profound and amazing. And so I think that expectation was there consciously. And so I was incredibly disappointed when I wasn't getting that experience. So I thought, right. So then waking up from the dream, I then had an emotional response to the way I was in the dream, which I kind of judged myself, why were you in fear? Why did you wake yourself up? Why were you this way? And overall, I felt I was really excited and happy for the dream experience and very curious. And so for those of you just joining, I'm speaking about what not to do in a lucid dream. So you can listen to back to the beginning, or I could just tell you right now, the short answer, the correct answer is you can do whatever you want in a lucid dream. In this particular dream, I looked in a mirror, and that's one of the things they say, do not do in a mirror, or do not do in a lucid dream, is look in a mirror. And I'm going to second that, unless if you're curious, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You're not going to die in a lucid dream. You're not going to lose yourself in a lucid dream. But what happens in a lucid dream can shake you outside of the lucid dream emotionally and psychologically. So that's always something to be aware of. So the most exciting thing from this dream was essentially the mirror, right? And I'm going to look more into why mirrors are so weird in dreams. And I know in general, mirrors are portals and they hold a lot of energy, right? And spirits also like to linger in mirrors. And I was just talking about this in a consultation yesterday, about the placements of mirrors in your home, right? And I literally have a mirror behind me. I love mirrors. And I have one in my bedroom that is like directly in front of my bed, like bad feng shui, and not spiritually aligned. Like you shouldn't have a mirror like directly in front of your bed. And I cover it with a sheet every night. But nonetheless, mirrors are portals and they are access points for all different kinds of energies and spirits. And so honestly, I think what I saw in that mirror was not me. I don't know what was going on. And I said, like, the nature of the dream was like very low vibes, emotionally speaking. So the mirror was an interesting dream symbol that I'm going to reflect on a bit deeper. But as I'm having this conversation, I feel like it was just, I don't think it was that deep. I think it was just like, you looked in there and you saw something that you didn't want to see, and it wasn't yourself. So yeah, be cautious of what you do in your lucid dream. But the second symbol, or just the thing I was excited about for my lucid dream, was the song that I received. So I mentioned that I asked the dream to, like, what's the purpose of this dream? Like, this dream is really annoying and it's giving me anxiety. What do I need to know? And it told me to listen to a song that was the song that was playing in the background, which was a country song that I had no idea. Like, I just knew the sound of it was a country song, and it said Finding My Way Home. So I shared this with someone else after I had the dream, and they mentioned like, oh, I know that song. That's a song. And I was like, oh, is it a song? So then I go to Spotify. Well, first I try to sing it in Shazam and nothing came up. It's like, we don't recognize that. So then I went to Spotify and I just typed Finding My Way Home country song, and it pulled up something from Bobby Womack. Is that a name? I know it's Womack is the last name. I think it's a popular country artist. And I like looked at the lyrics, and it's right in alignment with the message that I need to receive. And it's a very upbeat like song. And when I was hearing it in the dream, the melody is very similar, and it was very upbeat. Like I was like dun 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 dun, dun. Like I was like bopping along with it until my fearful mind kicked in and kind of changed my focus. And so I plan to revisit that dream or revisit that song and write down the lyrics in my journal and just open myself up to exploring more of what this song means, the lyrics, and also how that is reflected in the way I was showing up in my dreams. Because the way you show up in your dreams, whether lucid or not, will really give you clear insight to how you may be showing up in your waking life, or maybe there's some things that, the way the fear and anxiety was coming up for me in that particular dream, maybe something, or like whatever that context was, I need to reflect with that and see how that's showing up in my waking life. So there's so much that you can get from like one single scene in a dream, lucid, not lucid. And there's so much you can do in a dream. And I think what's most important is what you do after the dream. So that reflection, that integration process of really feeling what emotions you had in the dream, your response to the dream, and just like the message overall, like really like the song I'm going to sit with, and the energy of what I'm feeling I'm going to sit with that and just feel it out, and then take the necessary action, which is the dream embodiment, to fulfill the guidance of the dream. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to share. And I'll probably be back another time with Alexis to talk about this more and to share about maybe dreams. I'm really curious. For those of you watching the replay too, please share if you've had any experience of looking in mirrors and dreams. Because I'm going to say, don't do that, right? If there's one thing you're not going to do in a lucid dream, I would not look in a mirror. Or if you do, look at your own risk, because that was intense. But nonetheless, I hope that you all have a beautiful day. And yes, we're in between eclipses. It's going to be really intense, but we're going to navigate this energy with grace and compassion and confidence, and definitely pay attention to your dreams while we're in this in-between space, because what comes forth will really allow you to quantum leap and to accelerate in your healing and transformation. So thank you again for your support and just following me here and enjoying my content. And thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.